Okay, so uh, we are welcome to the Shir of Likutey Moharan, Pashas Masai. Tomorrow night, Mr. Hashem is going to be Rosh Chodesh Av. Sobering times, sobering thought. So the Rebbe said that any kind of wisdom has three stages. It has the time when a person is in the clutches of his power of imagination. And then a person is able to break the hold that his imagination has on him and start elevating himself to the real seichel, to the real sense. The state of where once is in what they call under the influence of koach hamedana is likened to a stone, because a person is actually held captive by his opinions. And he's totally convinced that his presumptions are correct. And that's what reality is. But it's fake. What koach hamedana does, what the power of imagination does, is it falsifies, it exchanges the good for bad and the bad for good. And this kind of straying, of this kind of delusion, cements an emunah. And the emunah is the ground you stand on, your point of view, the basic thing that dictates all your actions, reactions. If you believe that you are successful, you'll be successful, you'll be filled with energy and with motivation. If a person believes that he will not succeed, and whatever he does, it will end in tears, he will automatically lose motivation, because what's the point? I'm going to fail anyhow. And even if it will succeed, it'll be just temporary success. And it's likely, somehow, if I will succeed, it'll bring some bad tidings will come my way. Any which way is going to end up in tears. In other words, the power of imagination cements a point of view, emunah, which in itself feeds. There is a cross-pollination between the distortions of the power of imagination and the emunah. And the more the power of imagination is distorted, the more distorted the emunah. The more distorted the emunah, the more distorted the power of imagination becomes. And, it's like a never-ending cycle. But when a person is able to crack the power of imagination, that stone, it's called shamir. when he's able to crack that and realize that though I am still held captive by the power of imagination, I know that it's not the real seichel. This is called when the seichel is bekoyach. The seichel is in state of potential. It is there, fully complete, but I haven't actually looked at it yet. I haven't, I haven't examined it yet, and haven't made any attempts to make it my own, and so forth and so on. The second stage is what they call seichel apoel. That's called the acting stage, when you're starting to act, on that seichel. You're still struggling with, your false beliefs. You still haven't left them. And they are the things that are pulling you down from actually being able to adopt the real seichel, the real sense. But you are already in the ball game. You're already working on it. You're already fighting. And this is the thing that actually, that kind of fighting is a thing that, that's the process through which you acquire, the efficiency, the efficacy, the, being good and in adopting the true seichel. And once you go through that process, you come to the seichel amiti. In other words, you have seichel anikna. It becomes that seichel. You are free from that, the being a part of the control of the powerful imagination, and you already have it in your pocket, as it were. I mean, we all have these kind of inyanim in which we already have seichel anikna. Seichel anikna, for instance, I mean, no religious person will be mechal Shabbos without reason. If there is a reason, as pikuach nefesh, whatever it is, say, but other than that, it's not even a challenge. It's not even a test. It's not even a temptation. So and so forth and so on. That's called seichel anikna, and that is the only thing that is left of a person once he leaves this world. Now, the next thing that Rabbeinu taught us is that once you are able to acquire the seichel, the acquired sense, it becomes part of you. You know it all in one shot, in one single knowing. You keep Shabbos. It's like before you became from, when you found out that you have to keep Shabbos, keeping Shabbos was, you realize that's what I need to do. You still didn't know what Shabbos is. You still don't know what are the different details of Shabbos. You were not convinced yet, whatever, but you realized that's what you need to do. And then you went through the process, you acquired the Shabbos, and now you have the entire Shabbos, what used to be in potential, in a state of potential, now is a state of kiyum, of it's totally yours. Now, then Rabbeinu says that, listen, people are all the time, are like onion skins, layers of skin of onions, one on top of the other. There are no two people in Am Yisrael which are standing on the same madrega, and the whole thing is dynamic. When the one that comes from below gets up to the madrega above him, there was somebody there, because everybody is one on top of the other. There was somebody there. So what happens is that you are pushing him up. Now, the process of going up is the process where the what used to be the kedusha of your Torah mitzvahs, as you elevate, now becomes the kedusha of your divrei chol. The thing is that a Jew serves the Kadosh Baruch Hu in two aspects: in Torah and mitzvahs, and in his divrei chol, eating, sleeping, business, whatever. So there is a holiness, a sanctity in which you deal with the divrei chol. You're not going to steal from people. You're not going to cheat people. Maybe sometimes sometimes I did. Sometimes I do chas v'chalila, whatever it is. I do tshuva, whatever it is. But nevertheless, there is a certain amount of kedusha that typifies my madrega of divrei chol. And then, of course, there is a certain madrega of kedusha that typifies, that I rate as far as my Torah in tefillah, contain. So we gave it we gave it numbers so we understand how this works. So let's say that the kedusha of your divrei chol is 5, and the kedusha of your davening in Torah is 10. When you're going the madrega above you, the level above you, the kedusha of the person who's standing on the madrega above you, his divrei chol is 15, and his Torah and tefillah is 20, which means that the divrei chol of a person on the level above yours is greater, the kedusha of his divrei chol is greater than the kedusha of your Torah and mitzvahs. What happens is that when you are graduating from first grade to second grade, the thing that comes up with you is the kedusha of your Torah and mitzvahs, your 10. The one above you, you're pushing him up. He takes with him the kedusha of his Torah mitzvah, which was 20. And the kedusha of your Torah and tefillah now becomes chitzonius, becomes the outside layer, the circumference, the makif of the 15. That was the kedusha chitzonius, the outer kedusha of the person who was there before. Now it becomes the kedusha of your Torah and your tefillah. The person who was there before, the 15, that's the way he did business. That's the way he ate. But it was higher than your Torah and tefillah. Now it becomes the kedusha of your Torah and tefillah. That's the level of your Torah and tefillah. What used to be the kedusha of your Torah and tefillah now is the kedusha of your divrei chol, of your eating, your sleeping, your business. In other words, now as you graduated from the first grade to second grade, that second grade, the ultimate, when you finish second grade is 15 and 20. You just came in with your 10, which is makif to the 15. So there you go, in a madrega that really should have 15, 20. But what you have, as you enter, you knock on the door and you enter in, is 10, 15. 10, 15 is not enough to hold down the klippos on that particular madriga. In every single one of the worlds that we have, which is Asiya, Yetzira, and Bria, the Olam Asiya is mostly klippos. There's some kedusha. In Olam Yetzira, it's about 50-50. In Olam Abriya, there is a little klippos and a lot of kedusha. In Olam Atzilus, there's no klippos at all. So, which means that every single level of kedusha that you are entering that level of kedusha is protected with a skin, like a fruit that has a skin to protect it, to keep out those who don't deserve to come in. So, but once you have to break in order to achieve the fruit, which is the kedusha on the madrega that you are coming into, you have to break the klipos. The klipos are subdued in the second grade only by the combination of sanctity of 15-20, as it were. You're coming in with 10-15. That's not enough. 10-15 is not enough. The fact that the klipos were already defeated by the person that was there before you, it doesn't care. You at 10-15, it comes up against you. And when it comes against you, it comes up with fantasies. It comes up with cravings. It comes up with confusions. It comes up with obstacles. All the things that you used to know, it is holding you back, preventing you from coming in. Later on, the Rebbe says that it's a very common mistake that the Hasidim make, is that they figured that suddenly they fell from the madrega. I mean, suddenly I'm flooded with thoughts and confusions and cravings and obstacles that I thought I left this behind me eons ago. What is it doing here? The answer is, and so they say they figure, I fell off. Rabbeinu says, don't be foolish. If you are encountering new confusions, new obstacles, new cravings, and new fantasies, it means that there is kedusha to be found. It means that you hit the skin, the klipos. Okay, so what's the difference between falling and what you call yerida l'tzorech aliyah? That is just the klipos that are trying to prevent me from getting to the upper madrega. How do you know which is which? The answer is they're one and the same. If you fall for the confusions and for the fantasies, and it dispirits you, demoralizing you, it makes you feel like you fell off, this is yerida. Means you fell off. But if you realize you have to work for this, then it becomes yerida l'tzorech aliyah. They're one and the same. There is no other reality that, okay, this is called failure and this is called just a test. It's always a test. It depends how you look at it. If you look at it as a failure, it's a failure. If you look at it as a test, it is a test, and this is also the stepping stone towards the new madrega. And Rabbeinu says as follows: the main fountain of the Chochmah came from the Mikdash. In Beis HaMikdash, this is where they used to sacrifice the korbanos, which is the animalistic urges of a person and the power of dimion. Because the behemoth also have this kind of ability. It has dimion and taivus. And the behemoth, Moshe Kosuv, Zivche Elokim Ruach Nishbara. The kind of sacrifices that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants is a ruach nishbara, is a broken spirit. You have to understand there is 4 elements. This is Esh, Ruach, Maim, and Afar. You can see it that when it's in the Kedusha or it's Tuma, the difference is always in the level of Ruach. Take, for instance, Matzah. Matzah has Afar, this is the flour. It has water, obviously, because otherwise you can't make, there's no dough. And you have fire, that's the thing that bakes the matzah. But the one thing the matzah does not have, it does not have a ruach. The ruach makes chametz. Ruach makes it, the whole thing puff up. Look at me, I'm Mr. Gross. This is what chametz is. This is the difference between chametz and matzah, is that in chametz, the leg, the left-handed leg of the ches is broken off. It becomes a hay. That's the difference. The same letters, mem and tzadik, are on both places, but the difference is either ches or hay. Ches means there's ruach there, becomes chametz. Matzah means the left leg of the ches is broken, becomes a hay, means you broke the ruach. Wherever we say that somebody is haughty, this is gas ruach. He's full of hot air. He's full of it. This is ruach. So zivche Elokim, the way to break down the dinyanis is ruach nishbara. You're supposed to break the ruach of the dimyonis, of that kshechara bes hamikdash botol hashamir v'stufi v'amona. In bes hamikdash, came the mayon, the fountain of chokhmah, of wisdom. That enabled a person to extricate himself from the power of imagination and to acquire the power of shamir, of breaking the imagination. Sechel b'koyach. It gave the person the ability of nefesh tzufin, of means of actually working out and bring out the sweetness of the chokhmah, to actually enjoy it. Sechel b'poel. And amona, when this is something you already have in your pocket. It's a kshibona bes hamikdash, as it kayom umayim bes hamikdash yitzeh. This is mayan chokhmah. I saw a pirush that actually it means that the top of the pyramid, as it were, there is the tzaddik. He's the mayan that comes out from it, that the Beis Hamikdash gets the chokhmah from, and he is the one that pulls the people up, even people that are on a very, very low level. He keeps on pulling them up and waking them up. And they have to wake up on their own, but he's, once they wake up on their own, he helps them, he reminds them, he tells them stories from yesteryears. As Rabbeinu says, somebody is totally asleep, you have to tell them stories, Sipurei Maisias, tremendous secrets and mysteries that the Tzaddik Emes does in order to help a person like me, wake up and smell the coffee, realize, what is actually going on in the world. And as we said, that two people, there are no two people, and it has to go up, and you have to do the work all over again. The perush kisa kovad mora merisha mekom kedusha. Kisa kovad, we explained. Kisa is the pneumius, is inside. It's what is covered. From iskasio. Covered is chitzonius v'levush. That's the outside. That's the garment. Kmo shamru Rabbi Yochanan kora lamana mechabdusi. They are called the garment that which honors me. When you are getting up from the lower madrega to the new madrega, from the inside of your neshama, the sanctity of your Torah mitzvahs, becomes chitzonius to the neshama that used to be there before. Which will say, all the klippos are waking up. You have to do a mekomik d'sheinu. You have to sanctify the place anew, because the klippos wake up again. So, in total, we can summarize everything we learned until now, that the person has to break the power of imagination and to be zoichet a sechel b'koyach, and from that a sechel b'poel, and then sechel anikne. We also said that when a person goes from one madrega to the next, he has to break the klipa of the medama, the klipa of the imagination in the higher madrega. And when he is going to a higher madrega, his own pnimius, his inner sanctity, goes and becomes the chitzonius, the outer level of what used to be the chitzonius, the person who was there before. In other words, your 10 becomes the outside of the 15. That was the outside of the 15-20, the person who used to be there before. And now, Rabbeinu obviously does not just tell us, come to tell us, just theories. Rabbeinu gives us the tools with which to do it. It says, it is not possible to subdue when over the klipos. Hainu, in other words, hadimyonis, the fantasies, v'amachshavas, the thoughts, v'ataivas, and the cravings, v'abilbulim, and the confusions, v'amenias, and the obstacles, sheba madrego, in this higher level that you just entered. I mean, ask any kid that finishes Kita Aleph, goes to Kita Bet, he's tackling exactly the same kind of problems. The only way to do it is through Gdulos Habayra, the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Gdulos, as it says in Kavanas Arizal, of Hoydel Hashem Kiru Bishmai. We are saying, first of all, the Korbanos. Korbanos is Olam Asiyah. We are saying all the Korbanos, this is instead of bringing Behemoth to Beis HaMikdash. This is when we are shechting the Ruach HaMedama, the Koyach HaMedama, the power of the imagination. Now, when we're getting to Psuka de Zimra, first, we have to do an action that subdues and wins over and defeats the klipos, which are all the confusions and so forth that are on this madrega. Rabbeinu says, as it is said in Kavonas Ari of the first when we starting Psukkah de Zimra, it starts with Hoidu. And a Hoidu is a Kira according to me, to in the Ashkenaz, they start with Baruch Sha'amar, and then they're saying Hoidu. By Nusach Sfarad, we say, first of all, we say Hoidu, and then we say Baruch Sha'amar. The reason for it is because Hoidu is not really part of Psukkah de Zimra. Hoidu is that fight that we're doing first before we stop Psukkah de Zimra. We start before we're starting to traverse the Olam Yetzirah. We have to fend off the klipos. So of the Asiyah that want to come out to Yetzirah, we have to fend them off and really put, the fear of Hashem into their hearts, and so they back off. This is done by we say, Hoidil Hashem, thank Hashem, Kiru Bishmoi, call his name, Hodiu Ba'amim Aliloisav. Let the nations know Hashem's deeds, how great he is. Arizal explains, who are we talking to? Hoidil Hashem, Kiru Bishmoi, Hodiu Ba'amim. Okay, now I'm taking the siddur, and I'm saying, Hoidil Hashem, thank Hashem, Kiru Bishmoi, call his name, and let the nations know Hashem's deeds. Who are we talking to? Who are we calling? Who are we directing, to thank Hashem, to call out his name, and to do and to call out in the nations Hashem's deeds? Who are these nations? Israel says this is us calling out the angels in the Olam HaYetzirah. Every Olam has its own angels. The angels of Olam HaYetzirah, they do not have the freedom to fight the Klipos on their own. Everything starts from us. Everything starts when a Jew wants to come up. When we're saying Kedusha down here, then Kedusha starts up there. As we learned term Memtes, this is when you're doing Yichud HaTachton, there's Beis HaTorah, there's Beis HaElah. When we are doing it down here, it happens up there. So we are telling the angels, Hoidil Hashem, thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kiru Bishmoi, call his name. Hodiu ba'amim aliloisov, let the nations know of Hashem's great deeds. You're telling the Malachim to let the Klipos, these are the Amim. The Amim are the Klipos. You're telling the angels, let the Klipos know the greatness of Hashem, so they will get the fear of Hashem in them and will not disturb us from going into Psuke de Zimra. Because because Nisarim Neged Asiyah, the Klipos in the Yetzirah, they awaken against Olam HaTziyah. Now we brought with us, the best we could out of Olam HaTziyah to Olam HaYetzirah. By mentioning the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, various greatnesses. It's an importance. Gdulos is plural. The Nichnoim, this is when they are defeated. This is when they surrender. Ki b'chol olam, in the primis, ayen sham, because every olam has inside and pnimius and chitzonius, the inside layer and the outside layer. The pnimius hayetzirah afterwards, in other words, the same principle applies. When you finish Olam HaYetzirah, go to Olam HaBriah, the same kind of principle applies. The inside of Olam HaYetzirah goes up and becomes the outside layer of Olam HaBriah, and so forth and so on, ad ein sof. Now, the pnimis of Olam HaSiyah is obviously lower than the chitzonius of Olam HaYetzirah above it. And even though the Klipos Olam HaYetzirah already were defeated by the person who was there, and they cannot grab an Olam HaYetzirah anymore, nevertheless, now when the pnimius of Olam HaSiyah comes up, this is somebody my own size. Now they can pick on someone on us. So in the Olam HaSiyah, there's a pachon. The Klipos, in Olam HaYetzirah will get a hold on it. That's why we said this Mizmor Tehillah, the Mizmor Hoidil Hashem Kiru Bishmoi. It means you, the holy angels, call the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and let and advertise Hashem great deeds in the Amim. These are the Klipos, and this is how the Klipos will be scared of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and will not grab hold on the pnimius of Olam HaSiyah that is now going into the Yetzirah. The entire Mizmor of Hoidu talks about the Goyim and the Amim and the nations recognize and their gods and their deities recognizing the greatness of Kadosh Baruch Hu and will not take hold on the Kedusha. And when a person wants to come another Madrega that he is into a higher Madrega, by revealing the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is how he subdued the Klipos that are standing on his way and they're afraid to grab hold of him. Bezrat Hashem, next week, on Wednesday, we will continue from where we stopped here. As you know, tomorrow is Erev Rosh Chodesh, and there's a kenes in Mitzvah Hashem in base where people come together, best of them come together, to daven to ask Bezat Hashem should be zeicher to get to Uman on Rosh Hashanah. However, Bezat Hashem, we will have a shir in Best of Besmedrash, hopefully at 9:00 as usual. Maybe it'll be a bit late, whatever it is. If there are any changes, I'll let you know. But as things stand now, the plan is that there will be a shir tomorrow night at teaching number 38. So B'ezrat Hashem, Kodesh Baruch Hu should be with us. We'll be zeicher to Binyan Yerushalayim. Kodesh Baruch Hu Yameinu Binyan B'samigdash Me'ah B'Yameinu Amen.